Yes, baby, we're back with On the Radar, and I got my boy Marlon Craft in the building. What's going on, bro?
What up? What up, man? How you feeling?
And I know that you're like New York to the core.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah.
So tell me about where you grew up, where you're from in New York. Let the people know.
Yeah, I'm from Hell's Kitchen.
Okay.
That's like the west side, like west of Times Square.
Mm-hmm.
So not a lot of rappers from Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah,
Certainly
I've never heard of a rapper from Hell's Kitchen before.
Yeah, definitely. Like, there's some dudes, but it's definitely like a lot different neighborhood now than the one I grew up in.
What was it like?
Manhattan. It was like a lot more like mom and pop, a lot of like Puerto Ricans and Irish people, like a lot of like just it's almost like a mini LES or something. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was just a lot more homey, a lot more, rough and tumble, and now it's just like it's over.
What, it's like gentrified? It's
gentrified?
gentrified?
Yeah, bro, we lost, bro. Now it's like skyscrapers and tourists and like.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I was walking down. I was in Hell's Kitchen. I forgot. It was like a year ago, and I was just walking around. And I think it might have been around the time one of the seasons of Daredevil came out, right? 'Cause,
Yeah.
they had like they went hard in Hell's Kitchen for the Daredevil promo. And I remember walking around, and I'm like, where are all these skyscrapers coming from? You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's
I was
crazy, bro.
And like even when I was walking once to New York Comic-Con at the Jacob Javits Center, and I went through Hell's Kitchen, I went through all that, and I'm like, wow, all these like they're coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Bro,
like
Hudson Yards over there is crazy, bro.
yo, I haven't been there yet. What's it look like?
That shit is whack, bro. That shit not for us. That shit is for like, I mean, this is everything's wild, expensive. The foot traffic is crazy. The only thing that's cool is like when the buildings come in, like the nice fancy buildings, they have to like do a certain small percentage of apartments, like lottery apartments. For,
Yeah,
like,
they
low
do the
income.
what are they called?
It's like the
my God.
lottery,
Something
affordable
houses,
housing,
affordable housing. Yeah.
So I got homies that like I grew up with that like live in this fancy ass like shit, bowling alleys in the building, all that shit, paying like $600 a month. And we
Yeah,
just
I know a few people like that, but I there's like a downside to that too, because I heard that for some of those, I don't know if it's for the same for your homies. I just know that like in general, some of these places are like this. You can't be like just rolling through the front door. There's like a back entrance for like people.
Nah, well, I heard that there was supposed to be one of those in one of them. I haven't seen any like that. There was supposed to be one, and they fought it hard. I think like the local politicians fought it hard. I don't know if it's still like that, but definitely like it's mad stuck up and uppity in those buildings. Like it definitely is. That's the one like small, minute gentrification perk of like the homie will get a nice apartment for cheap. But other than that, everything.
Because I ain't gonna hold you. I was looking into that shit for a little while. Because I was like, oh, because my girl put me on. My girl was like, there's like this new thing where you can go like there's in Brooklyn. They have it in Manhattan. She's like, there's affordable housing, and all that. And I was looking into it, but I think I just missed some of the prerequisites to get it. But at the same time, I was like, wow, I didn't know that you could just be paying like $600 out here for like a beautiful 1-bedroom apartment. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta game the system, bro. Like, the only way I'm still in Hell's Kitchen because I'm on Section 8. Like, I live in a building for artists where it's like rent-based, income-based rent. So that's the only way I'm still there.
That's kind of nice, though. That's,
yeah.
That's kind of cool for you.
It's amazing, yeah. So yeah.
That's dope. Yeah. So like you've seen like the Hell's Kitchen go from like I seen Brooklyn go like that because my grandmother lives in Brooklyn, so I've really seen like the change from, when I was a kid and my mom and pops used to drop me off there, like seeing like all the like just people outside like Spanish music blasting to like now you don't hear anything. Everybody on a damn bike. And it's just like I think the bike lanes are like the worst possible thing on like. Do you ride a bike? If you ride a bike,
I'm sorry. Bikes. No, I do fuck with bikes.
I offend you if you ride a bike.
But I be on the path. Like on the river and shit. Like I'll be on the path and like my pops would ride his bike to work and shit. But I mean, the bike.
Sometimes you don't even see anybody on the bike lanes, which kind of like I feel like in some areas like it's necessary. Like in Brooklyn, I feel like when you get off the Williamsburg Bridge, I feel like that bike lane's necessary. But like sometimes in like where I live in Queens right now, there's random ass bike lanes. I'm like, what's the point of this?
Nah, bro, no lie. Like, because the bike should be the guest. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people are trying to drive, and when these people act so entitled on their bikes, it's the worst, bro. Like, people, that shit makes me the most mad. Like, it's always these like uppity people with like a $10,000 bike, and they'll like go by you at 1,000,000 miles per hour. They got like the full spandex suit on, and I'm like, fam, like, go do this shit somewhere else. Like, I'm walking, and then they'll say some shit as they speed off mad fast, and you just get hot. Like, that shit is the worst.
I'm pretty sure my girl got hit by one of those people in like a bike lane like a couple months ago, and they just kept pushing.
Bro.
Like they didn't even stop to make sure she was alright. Like she fell down and
Savage.
everything, and they just like went straight past them.
Savage, bro.
But enough about like the
Yeah.
gentrification and shit. Nah, cause I love when I have New York artists in here, cause I like to see where like y'all come from,
Yeah.
like what experiences y'all had. Like I've had some people from Uptown come before, and they've like explained to me. I'm sure, I don't know if you've heard, but there's a lot of Uptown clubs that are getting
Yeah.
shut down now, and
Yeah,
it's like a lot of
yeah.
spots where like people play their music, where like records have been broken in the past. So it's interesting to hear like different parts, cause I've never had that like downtown perspective come in here before.
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting. So let's talk about this music. So you got some you got a song with Bodega Bams out now.
Yeah.
You just dropped an EP
speaking of
not too
Uptown.
long ago.
Yeah.
So tell me about like your style is kind of like very reminiscent of like early 2000s, late 90s. Like, is that, did you like listen to that? Like, did you base your sound off of that, or is it just something that kind of like naturally came?
Yeah, I mean, like, I grew up on, like, Dipset, 50 Cent, G-Unit.
I can hear that.
Like,
Yeah.
Eminem, like, of that, era and all that shit. And then later on I dug back deeper into, like, the 90s style shit, like Wu-Tang Tribe, all that. But I'm really excited about this new album where I feel like I'm really, like, carving out my own sound, doing a lot of shit with live musicians, like on every track, live instrumentation, and then some producers that we're like used to hearing about, but then I got live musicians with them and kind of create my own thing. So I'm super influenced by all that, and I think people always like know me for that, but I'm looking forward to really like defining the Marlon Craft sound in the next few months, you know what I mean?
Yeah, when I was listening to your music this morning, you could like, because there's sometimes you can tell when like people kind of use similar beats over and over and over again. Like things just sound similar, No disrespect to anybody, but I like you hear different things in your music that are like little accents or little instrumentation here or there, and on top of your spitting. It's just it makes it like that's my favorite type of rap to listen to. Like a good example of that is like Meek Mill on Championships.
Yeah.
Like the song Championships itself, when like that little jazz when that jazz plays in the
Fire.
background over the beat, like that gets me every time. And there'll never be a record that comes out like that I don't like, which is why I appreciate the music that you're putting out, because it's just like that.
Oh, thank you, bro.
So
Yeah.
are you into like getting? Obviously not orchestras, but like what's your like composition like? Do you get like a few people who play like instruments, or is it more like just one person comes in at a time?
Yeah, so like actually, I mean the album process was really cool. Like in the beginning, we flew this dude Arbus out from Sweden, who's a producer that I just met on YouTube because he was making like so and so.
I hear a lot of people flying people out from like you're not I swear to God, you're not the first person who's come by here to say that they've had somebody from like Sweden or some like Europe, like higher up European country.
Yeah. He came through, and then I had like all these musicians that I've been working with, because when I perform, I've been doing like headline shows for like a few years now here in New York, and like I always perform with the band. So my pops is a jazz percussionist, so I was just always inspired by that. So I had him come through, and he would just make like the beginnings of like a beat, and then we would hit the lab at night with all the like the musicians, and then they would add to it and they would play on it. Then sometimes it would be like I got this one song on the album that is like a Green Lantern beat.
Okay.
But then like I had my homie Sly Fifth Ave, who's like this incredible Grammy-winning sax player, do like an orchestral breakdown in the middle of the shit. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of like sometimes it'll be like we have like a beat in a song, and I'm like, yo, can you just play some shit on top of this? But for this one, the musicians, there was a couple joints on the album too that I made with the band from scratch, with no like everything is live on the whole thing. So I'm excited about it, man. Yeah.
So let's talk about the new album. So it's coming out. You could give a release date, kind of, or
June.
Okay.
Yeah, June.
So
June.
it's your first debut.
Yeah, it's my baby.
Album.
Yeah.
How you feeling about it?
I'm really proud, man.
How many tracks you got on it? Is it like a long album, or?
It's like 51 minutes, 52
so
minutes.
It's like 15
13
songs?
tracks.
I think 13 tracks.
But there's
is
some
always like,
surprises in there too. Like, so a couple of tracks got a couple things going on.
Yeah, because I feel like 13 is kind of like the sweet spot for now. I feel like once you hit 15, you're kind of like in that little danger zone of like going a little too, like doing too much. I feel like people check out after song 7 if they're not already hooked.
Especially these days.
Yeah.
But I had to cut some songs, but I was just feeling like, man, like I really want people to live with this. Is like my like debut out, like, you know what I mean? Like this is like like if I put this shit out, it's like I don't know, like I just keep going to these dramatic places with it, like, like bruh, if I die, like they can't take this shit away from me, bro. This is my album. So that's how I feel about it. It's like I'm gonna make it. It's gonna be long. You're either gonna sit through it or you're not, or you're gonna take from it what you like. But for those people that really will appreciate like the full body of work that they could grow with, and their favorite song could change every few months and that type of thing, I was like, I'm gonna just make it exactly how I want it.
So you got some features on there too.
Yeah.
Will we get like another Bodega Bands record or?
I got my homie Dizzy Wright on there.
Oh, okay. I know Dizzy Wright. Yeah, I've heard of him.
I toured with him.
Oh, for real? That's I think Dizzy. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Dizzy might follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, Dizzy is a really good dude, man.
Yeah, he's dope.
That's the homie. So he's on there. I got a couple of my homie Ricky Motion is on there, and my homie Evan Cromit. Those are two of my homies. People probably don't know them, but they will. And then I'm waiting on one more feature that I'm trying to see. I got Green Lantern on there. I got Static Select on there.
I'm very familiar with Static Select. I remember he did a project with this guy I interviewed in college, who I was a big fan of, and I'm still a big fan of, Jared Evan. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Yeah.
Jared Evan, I interviewed Jared Evan a long time ago, but I fucked with his project that he did with Static Select. So that was dope that you got him on your project too.
Static's dope. I got Black Milk on there. I got I'm excited.
And then you got some surprises that you know, knock on wood, they come across.
Yeah, we'll see, hopefully. But if not, I'm just happy where we're at with it. Like, I'm really proud of it, and I know that my fans are going to fuck with it, but I also think it's going to help people see me in a different light.
So are you experimenting with anything, like, kind of different than what you're already doing? Like, did you take any, I guess, bigger risks on this upcoming project?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a musical. Yeah, I mean, content-wise, yeah. We got some shit that's coming that's, like, super but nothing is a departure from what I've done, Like, I've always been extremely, like, political in some of my work. I've always been extremely, musical, but it's just like the grown-up version of all the things that I've been trying to figure out as an artist over the past few years. It's like super musical, some songs that are like super personal, super vulnerable, and and super at times super political and super.
So
I wouldn't
more
say
like
political, like just social commentary,
like story-driven too.
Some of it, yeah. It's about me, It's about my growth into a man and trying to figure myself out, and then where I sit in the world and figuring the world out and commenting on that. But yeah, I mean, so it's kind of like, but definitely like the musicality of it. It's like a lot of people know me for just like bars, or they have this perception of me that's just like I'm Marlon Craft, like the spitter, the New York spitter. And I am that, but I'm way more than that. And I feel like after this album is the first time I ever feel comfortable calling myself a musician.
That's dope.
Because I was really like intricately involved in all the arrangements, all the production. So I'm really hyped on it.
Now I know there's so being in radio for a couple of years now. Like I know that there's kind of this little, I don't want to say group of people, but I guess like in like a public consciousness in New York, there's like this group of people that are considered like the underground, like New York artists. Do you consider yourself like one of those, or or do you feel like you are one of those now, but you're trying to break that mold?
Yeah, I'm trying to do arenas, bro. Like,
okay, no, I respect. No, that's why I'm asking because no, I don't. Yeah, because like, I'm encouraging you to break that mold because I know a lot of them and like I've seen them come and go. In my work here and my work at like other radio stations. So that's why I'm curious because obviously you're young. So like the point, I wanted to see where your head was at because because I've talked to some people and they're just like, I just want to stay in New York.
No, I didn't mean to sound defensive. I'm just saying like that's always been the goal. I've always wanted to make music that makes people feel something that resonates with you. Like, and lately, like, I've done so much of, like, the bars thing. I was trying to write this verse the other day for this feature recently that was, like, just more, like, bars, like, not really, like, super specific on how I'm feeling or what anything. And it was, like, hard to write because I'm just in a place where I really want to speak on just real shit that I'm feeling. But, yeah, like, the goal is to branch out. I definitely like fuck with that scene though, and I come from that scene, and I'm of that scene, and I got nothing but love for that scene. But everybody in the misconception about the artists in that scene is like all those artists that you're probably referring to like are probably my homies, and they all love all different types of music and want to be seen as artists and musicians. We talk about it all the time. Yeah. So breaking out of that thing, and I think it's important for people to, and with me, like it's like sometimes I think there's been a little bit of a false narrative because like I've been doing 300 tickets selling out shows in New York for like 2 years, and it's like sometimes there's these conceptions of like, oh, where you're like rapping, you're doing like rap freestyle videos, you're like a freestyle rapper, and it's like, we were charted #2 on iTunes with the last project we did 2 years ago, on hip hop. So it's like we've had like real fans, real artist like momentum for a while, and so I definitely don't want to like run from being like I'm part of that underground New York scene because I am. But I think like people need to.
No, I know there's like some people who've like broken out of that scene. Like I think a perfect example of someone who I feel like has broken out of it was Action Bronson. I think that's like the perfect example of someone who's kind of like broken out. There's probably some others that are escaping my mind, but like off the top, like he it's cool how he's like out of that scene. Well, but he's also like still has like a foot in it and still like supports like his homies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I forgot who's the rapper who always runs around with him.
Mayhem Lauren.
Who's dope.
Yeah.
And like I fuck with the fact that like, you know, Action Bronson still got like, you know, hit records like the record with Chance.
Yeah.
But like he also, you know, he still does his records with Mayhem Lauren and he still supports his homies, which is dope.
My goal is to be like the guy that achieves mainstream success doing some shit that community can be proud of.
Right.
You know, and be like he represents us on that mainstream world, you know, and like speak to all worlds, you know, that's kind of like my goal.
Yeah. That's dope. So, new project June,
yeah.
So before you get out of here, I do have I have one question for you. So if you had to pick like your dream New York collab, we could do one for the older generation and one for the newer generation. That way you don't gotta like, you know, choose. But like dream collabs for like older generation of hip hop, like early 2000s, 90s, and then like newer generation, like people who are popping now.
New York collab.
Like like a New York, like you know, you got him as a feature.
All right. Damn. I mean, I think for like in terms of like classically, it'd have to be like, I think either Jay or Nas.
Of course.
You know, like maybe Nas. I'm a huge Nas fan, but I also think, and then I think for like present day, shit. I'm a really big Joey Badass fan. I feel like artists,
Beast Coast is dope.
Yeah, I feel like for artists like me, in terms of present day people that laid that blueprint of like, you know, sort of maintaining that sound and lyricism and all that, but being in a mainstream space, that would be really dope. I'll give the one caveat who's not a rapper is like Alicia Keys. Alicia Keys.
Hey, you could do singers too.
Alicia Keys grew up in my building.
Oh,
so,
for real?
So like I
didn't even know that.
So we're from the same block. So I would. Like that would be crazy. Like that would be full circle.
That'd be a nice little Hell's Kitchen moment,
yeah,
right?
That's
gonna
give
Hell's
happen.
Kitchen a name.
I'm making that happen.
Besides Daredevil, people think Marlon Craft, Alicia Keys.
I'm putting that in the air. I need that. Yeah,
that'd be dope.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on everything, bro.
Thank you, man.
Congratulations on your new album, in June. Let the people know where they can get your music, where they can follow you at.
Yeah, man. It's Marlon Craft. You could type in Marlon Craft, MarlonCraft, into any streaming platform. Google me, YouTube me, Facebook, Twitter @MarlonCraftNY, Instagram @MarlonCraft, all that good shit, man. Yeah.
Hey, it's Marlon Craft on the radar. Thank you, bro.
Word. Thanks, man.